attacks with a nice little high ground, well, in the sky shot, but Godzilla picking up that tank diff on the solitary bird and smacks one right into Pugster right there. You got a minute 30 left. If you are fighting potatoes, I would dare say you've got a couple ultimates to play with.
Yeah, you really do, and I feel like fighting potatoes. I love this comp. I love the Sombra, Diva, and all this comp. I think their #1 goal, they need to be diving the Supreme Fudge's Widow. I think that's gonna be their best bet. As never mind, they swap to the Tracer as Kongu dies off the side of the map.
Reset.
It's one of those things where they need to find a target and they dive to it. I think this Tracer is going to be a lot easier to dive the Kiriko, especially trying to bait out that teleport out onto someplace else to try to get them to counteract, bait out the Suzu, and then just collapse on them. As now Yifri swaps to the Bastion instead, going back to the whole comp that they had before.
Yeah, nice little Kitsune out in main choke point. Not necessarily getting a lot of value as the Nano goes on a solid 3 bird. Looks like the pressure is trying to get onto Yefri, but a fantastic support play from Fighting Potatoes keeps every single member of their team alive as Kanyo knocks out Supreme Fudge. That's a huge win condition. Now Kanyo going after the far. Godzilla does trade it out. It's going to be a 4v4 Kitty on the pocket, but it looks like Bento knocked out with justice. Bento did find out Smikikin, but Kanyo smacks one right in the Pete right there. Now Godzilla just kind of prowling on this kind of menace, but Bento getting res right there was actually kind of huge considering they had Barrage. I was going to say that it was fantastic value that Bento got picked up, but a nice little res. Picks up 2 right there with that Barrage. Fighting Potatoes got kind of blasted by surprise right there in the very end, but they had a nice little attack.
Yeah, they were able to get around that. I like I don't fully like the swaps to the Tracer. The Tracer swap was fine, but to the Bastion from Yinfi is just sort of, it's very rough because you can't fully dive. And that's one thing that I feel like with this comp you need to do is you need to dive. I get trying to use oh, there we go.
Leaked.
Something happened. Something happened. But yeah, going back to the Diva, like you can't, it's not Overwatch 1 anymore where you have 2 tanks and you just sort of peel for your backline. It's Overwatch 2. You only have 1 tank again. And it's just rough to be able to do it as we see Godzilla go back to the brawl sort of style. And it's just, it's going to be rough for the side of Fighting Potatoes to try to hold this, and especially with how strong it looks like the Jersey boys are playing right now.
Yeah. Apparently I have to quickly rejoin something, I think.
I can continue talking.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
No, it's all good.
Okay, sorry. Looks like, yeah, we're gonna see kind of Godzilla, Jersey boys sticking with what they know and love. They're gonna be going for something a bit more brawly with Bento on the Reaper. Again, the front line with Godzilla, fantastic synergy throughout all 3 of these maps so far. Fighting Potatoes opting for their kind of Paraiso composition might work a bit better on Rialto considering you've got way more map encouragement for each of these picks here.
Yeah, you do, and especially with as we see Sneaky Kitten on the brig with the wide brig update that came out, I think it's gonna be a lot more. It's a lot better than it was before. I think there's still a few updates that they need to change with it, but Godzilla is just gonna be pressing W against into their entire team.
Yeah, Bento's gonna get picked out right there. Godzilla's gonna be a bit of a different situation as Reinhardt and on Rialto attacking. Supreme Fudge on the Tracer, which is not the Widowmaker from last round. They recognize the kind of threat Fighting Potatoes has with all these sight lines. As you can see, they're kind of on this high ground. Not sure how much value they're going to necessarily get from it, considering none of their characters necessarily do a lot of long-range presence. But it looks like Fighting Potatoes looks like this very nice spaced out kind of game they're playing here. These kind of off angles are trying to be got by Supreme Fudge that's kind of flank around. Pete does catch out Yefri right there. That high ground kind of presence actually doing wonders for the side of Jersey Boys. Really, 3 Fighting Potatoes for some boost, but it looks like it's going to be an even fight with Kanyu knocking out 2. And at that, Godzilla is out and Supreme Fudge is out. You got no flanks and you got no front line. If you are the side of Jersey Boys, you're in a bit of a pickle here, I may dare say. But with the rest of the kind of pressure that Bento has and, you know, the supports with them, gets the job done. Kitty knocks one into Solitary Bird right there. Window coming out to try and put everything on top. Pete with a headshot right there. Picked up about 3 picks during that fight. Jersey Boys with a nice little, speaking of 3, it's going to be a 3-0 right now.
Yeah, and even though they did lose Godzilla at the very end, Bento is just playing Reaper. It's just because you don't have a tank doesn't mean you don't have a front line with Reaper. I feel like Reaper is one of the strongest characters in this game. It's very good, He's very good at some instances. He's not good, obviously, because he falls out of meta a lot, but he's just one of those things where it's like, if there's a 200 HP target, I'm going to be dying. You're going to be dying no matter what. As we go to push, of course, this is Tranquility, so there's always going to be a fourth map regardless. We do see Jersey Boys does get the win, I believe, going 3-0 already, but now it is map 4 push. Probably going to be running their brawl, everything like that. It's going to be very interesting to see what Fighting Potatoes does to try to hold on to it. I think if they do want to keep on running the Bastion, they could run the Rhine instead. It's going to be one of those things where it's like you need to figure out what you want to do. They sort of have two halves of a whole tomato right there.
Oh, tomato, tomato, potato. Love that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good point. I think, especially this being the kind of like last map. I think I don't think Jersey Boys necessarily have the kind of room to just kind of play around, which I absolutely love. Fighting Potatoes. Maybe they don't necessarily win this entire series, but they're definitely going to give it everything they've got, just like they always have. You got to admire the determination on Paraiso. Even they didn't end up winning that one, but you still damn saw them try their dang hardest to try and fight for what they're fighting for. Let's say we're going to be on Esperanza. Maybe not Coliseum, maybe not New Queen Street. Esperanza, very flippable, very beautiful. I remember on the map release, them talking about like, oh man, this is one of the prettiest maps we've ever made. And I definitely support that. What kind of compositions do you think either of these teams going to go? Do you think Jersey Boy is going to be sticking with that classic Rhyme? Do you think Fighting Potato is going to be sticking with that classic Diva, or do you think they're going to try a little bit something new?
I think we're going to see a lot of the Jersey Boys Winston comp come out. Esperanza, even though I feel like all push maps are very brawl heavy, I feel like Esperanza is very much more of a Winston sort of comp, Winston Diva sort of dive style, because you do have those two very long high grounds on each side, which of course is the push is also push is very linear, no wonder why, but you sort of deal with that sort of high ground a lot, and being able to control it with the Winston, with the Diva, is going to be a lot more interesting as we head into the map. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some Rhine come out, because especially since Jersey Boys look confident on it, and I feel like their confidence is through the roof right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it, but I could also see them going to that sort of Winston comp that try to work out some of the bugs with that.
Yeah, and with either these comps that Jersey Boys runs, I think their DPS kind of maybe dare I say get a little bit repetitive here. Fighting Potatoes might catch on to that. Jersey Boys taking those off angles on the Tracer you saw in Rialto. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, looks like we're gonna get a little bit of a mix up here. Kanye's still sticking with that Hanzo, but Jeffrey going for the Reaper, and Salty Bird with the Reinhardt all the way from Oasis, if you even remember that one. But Jersey Boys, that Supreme Fudge Sojourn, oh man, they might swap back to it after the TP out, but so far that's been pretty deadly.
Yeah, no, it really has been, especially with this brawl from both sides. It's going to be very interesting to see what each team decides to come out with. Obviously, Fighting Potatoes coming out with the Hanzo Reaper instead of the Mei Sojourn, so they can't feel like hold or take as much space, especially with the Rhine. You need to have that Rhine shield up. Whereas with the side of Jersey Boys, having that Mei wall is just going to be very massive, being able to block off some of the sight lines from the side of Fighting Potatoes. And yeah.
Looks like kind of trying to take that off angle. Looks like the main kind of frontline fight is going to be had. Salty Bird, lots of members Fighting Potatoes falling very low, but not. It looks like Salty Bird going to fall the lowest. Godzilla gets a nice little Reinhardt differential, and now the kind of rest of the pressure is on. A nice little late wall from Benter right there, really cleaning things up. I really did like that from Fighting Potatoes, but Jersey Boys had their eyes on the prize right there. They really had a nice little vision. Godzilla so far has just been an absolute menace on this front line.
Yeah, he really has, as Bento finds another one. This just seems like Jersey Boys is playing with all the confidence in the world. Playing this Reinhardt, which in my opinion makes it feel like they're probably the most confident with, as we've seen it being played on all three maps so far. But even then, they're just sort of rolling through everything. It just seems like that Fighting Potatoes, even though they do try to fight this completely, Solitary Bird falls immediately. Lamp dies. Godzilla is just pressing W completely in. They already have the shatter already. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're playing with confidence, and it's just Fighting Potatoes is just trying to get a regroup, and trying to just hold on to it as the Jersey Boys already gets checkpoint 1 out of 2 on push.
Yeah, that's what it seems. I think Jersey Boys have been kind of clapping so hard that my camera actually isn't working anymore. But I mean with the most motivation possible. Nice little nice little boost coming in is gonna pick up both the 2 kills for Bento right there. Godzilla amping that with 2 of their own, but coming up some ultimates is Fighting Potatoes, and yes, Jersey Boys does have a nice little view of that fantastic spawn right there, but Fighting Potatoes do have the ability to try and make and set up a fight of their own. Especially considering Jersey Boys doesn't really have that male anymore, and Jeffrey has Blossom, which is the kind of big area kind of denier. But Bento with a nice little shot onto Kanyo does pick him out. Now it's going to be a bit of a 5v4 scenario, but Bento using the iceberg, it might be a little bit of a vulnerable situation. Looks like Fighting Potatoes kind of thinking, it looks like they did want to kind of wait for the respawn to come back considering they are on the spawn, but it looks like the spawn pressure is pressed. Supreme Fudge just shot a shot into their dang spawn. Somewhere that's got to be erased, because holy smokes, that is disrespectful, especially considering it's this beautiful little palace. But we still got some time. Fighting Potatoes didn't necessarily use any else that fight. They were trying to wait for a respawn there. Jersey Boys dumped a couple ultimates, 1, 2, 3, into that kind of spawn area. But Fighting Potatoes coming up on 1, 2, 3 for 5 ultimates of their own. But down 1, it's gonna be a 4v5. Sneaky Kitten out of the fight. Pugster trying to rebound that with a window of their own. Now the wall is out from the side of Bento, but the beat is out as well from the side of Kitty. A big slam. That is one for the history books right there. But the beat did kind of save every single member of that squad. Now the rest of the ultimates from Fighting Potatoes aren't necessarily used just yet. Looks like they are gonna come back. Sneaky Kitten's coming back just in the nick of time with a nice little beat right there. It's going to force out Bento to use some abilities right there. One notably being the Blizzard ultimate. But Supreme Fudge with some picks. Let's read them off really quick. Supreme Fudge picks off Pugster, picks off Jeffrey, and picks off Solitary Bird right there for a nice little clean little 3K. Might try to make it a 4K right there with a nice little pick on Sneaky Kitten. Just chucking a nice little soldier and ball into their spawn. The disrespect is unfathomable. But what's not unfathomable is Fighting Potatoes trying to make this a nice little fighting chance. They still have some time left at that 6 minutes 30. This game is not near from over, even though it may seem like just a couple meters off. Now it looks like Fighting Potatoes trying to make this little fight on the front line, but the front line says no from the side of Godzilla. Pugster does find a pick on a Bento though, who's been a key player in a lot of these fights. May is out. That's going to be a lot of big thing to think about, considering you've got a window. Oh man. Supreme Fudge though, picking up the slack that Bento might have had, but looks like with time, with patience and virtues, Fighting Potatoes coming to Solitary Birds, knocking 2 picks their way, and Kanyu swipping a tracer that entire time, picks up a pulse bomb pretty dangerously fast, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, that was everybody who had Q had their ultimate press their ultimate. One thing that I'm surprised is that Yinfree didn't go for a big opportunity that they had, but it looks like just Jersey Boys is just trying to hold on to this going past the window. And it just looks like it's Jersey Boys' map to lose at this point.
Looks like Kanye with a nice little hey, Solitary Bird getting a nice little tank tip for onto Godzilla right there. Gonna be muscling that. Kanye follows up with a nice pick onto Bento. Looks like the 2 key players for the side of Jersey Boys are out of the fight. Nice little some follow-up picks from Solitary Bird, picking up some nice little elims and a nice little statistics there. But Pete, just walking away slowly as Kanye just peppers in some popcorn flakes. Now it looks like hey, look at that. Some meter progress got for the side of I was gonna say Fighting Potatoes, but it is Fighting Potatoes getting their way across.
Yeah, finally being able to touch the point 5 minutes after the spawn timer started. 5 minutes later, they were able to get some momentum going. And who knows, this could be the turning point. Fighting Potatoes does have 3 ults online, whereas Jersey Boys do have only the 1 with Kitty's beat drop. But even then, it's an uphill battle. They need to win so many more fights and just try to keep it going and try to use their ultimates at the right time.
Yeah, and Kitty does have a beat, maybe a little bit dangerous, but Bento's knocked out. That's ginormous. They're 7% off Humble Blizzard, and we both know how historically present Bento has been in that kill feed. That's going to be a giant sigh of relief as the beat comes out, dare I say a little bit early, but a Shatter to follow that up makes it maybe right on time. Supreme Fudge with a nice little headshot, and Godzilla with a nice little tank diff that may be signaling the fight Jersey Boys' ways. Fighting Potatoes not really getting the chance to use the rest of their ultimates right there. Some really well played from Jersey Boys right there.
Yeah, you can see Yinfree trying to bait out the beat from the side of Kitty, just fading in, trying to get it out. Ended up getting it out, but Godzilla dropped the shatter behind it. Now Jersey Boys has all the momentum in the world with 3 ultimates coming up, and whereas even though Fighting Potatoes do have 3 of their own after using that pulse bomb, it's just basically you need to win so many more fights for the side of Fighting Potatoes because they are close to getting that point check again and getting that early spawn, but even then they gotta take it basically to the capture point.
Yes, as Godzilla gets a nice little pick onto Jeffrey right there. Did love that pulse bomb. It actually scared off the rest of Jersey Boys right there. But I mean, scared off, buying time. Same kind of thing in Godzilla's eyes. Yet another kind of 2K for him right there. But you know, as you noted, Jersey Boys in a little bit of a lead here. They're going to be striding across the streets, looking across these nice little these Spain architecture. But what they're not going to be maybe having is some ultimates to play with. Fighting Potatoes has several. They're going to use one. It's going to be a window wall out of the fight from the side of Jersey Boys. Now the rush is going to be made, but Jeffrey destroyed right there. Looks like now it's going to be a bit of a 5v4. Soldier does pop that overclock. Supreme Fudge looking for some value, but isn't going to find Jack. Is sent to the top right of the kill feed right there. Going to be a bit of an even fight here. Now Bento picks up Solitary Bird. The tank is gone, and the shatter follows up. Now it's going to be a bit of a sticky situation yet again for the side of Fighting Potatoes, considering no one really has any ultimates. But the bright side is that nobody has any ultimates for either side, except Kanye, maybe.
Yeah, just trying to get that last checkpoint is always one of the toughest because, especially since their spawn is right there. Kanye sticks the floor and gets Kitty, surprisingly. But yeah, it's just gonna be rough. Pete is looking maybe to die. Drops the lots of lamp and is able to stay alive, but it's just gonna be rough. Fighting Potatoes is getting that fighting chance that we've been talking about for so much longer, especially since their spawn is mere meters away from the checkpoint.
Yeah, well, if it hasn't capped, it hasn't capped. It's not over until the coach blows the whistle. It's not over until somebody is, you know, winning. And Kanyu knocks one into the Supreme Fudge right there. It's got some salt to it from all those kills beforehand, but some ultimates coming into play, some dangerous ones at that. Coming up on a beat and a shatter from the side of Fighting Potatoes, but support ultimates from the side of Jersey Boys. You can't knock that out just yet, especially with Bento being such a menace so far. And now the window coming out from the side of Jersey Boys, trying to get this point, this kind of point presence. Bento knocks one into Jeffrey right there. It's going to be a bit of a 5v4 scenario. Yeah, again, splits off the team fantastically. The synergy from Jersey Boys, I mean, I haven't necessarily just blatantly pointed it out, but as you can see on your screen, it's just beauty in motion. Bento follows up yet another pick. Gets it onto Solitary Bird right there. Supreme Fudge closes the fight off with a nice little rail shot into Puckster right there. And now Kanyu booped by Kitty right there. So a sad day. But Fighting Potatoes still with some ultimates to play with. Still in this game. Still got a minute left. And it's not over just yet.
Yeah, about a minute left. Godzilla does have the shatter, which so far today he's been proven to drop some big ones so far. As Bento finds another opening pick, it's just been all Jersey Boys all day so far. Kitty finds one, and it's just Godzilla just taking this control. It seems like.
Ooh, nice little headshot jumper right there. It's gonna force a little recall. Yeah, Fighting Potatoes just gonna have to regroup. You know, reconcile. Just some last fight, little staggers here. They've got about one more fight left, so it looks like they're just gonna put everything they've got into this. They know if they've got time, no matter what. Hopefully, things are gonna get a little bit dicey here. Yeah, and Kanye still causes some terror in the backline. Does force recall. I think they're buying time for their team's response to come in, which is actually some nice stuff. Hasn't get picked off just yet. Oh man, by the knickers of their britches right there. Jeffrey coming up on a blossom here. Kitty does have the beat, so it is going to be a little bit of a scary situation. But all 5 members of Fighting Potatoes are in. The beat is going to come out from the side of Kitty. Oh, a nice synchronization. Finds out Jeffrey. Pete knocks out Kanyu. Supreme Fudge knocks out Solitary Bird, and the rest of the damage is coming through pretty cleanly from the side of Jersey Boys. They might try and clean this map up finally, but it did take some time. It did take... Oh, man. Okay, now. Jeffrey just TPs in, blossoms, finds 2, and that's ginormous. Supreme Fudge is out. The historical DPS player from the side of Jersey Boys is out of the fight, and now, holy guacamole, Fighting Potatoes have one hell of a fight to fight. And they've got some ultimates to do so, but not a lot at that. Kitty doesn't have beat, though, which is the big kind of factor here.
Yeah, Kitty doesn't have beat, but Godzilla is close to a shatter, about 15% off. And that's what I'm looking at. So far, Godzilla has been dropping the shatter at the perfect times, getting 1, getting maybe even 2, but even being able to get 4Ks at points. Kanyu does have Pulse Bomb, my guess, if I'm Kanyu, I'm gonna try to go for the Baptiste. Oh, get the Sojourn instead.
Yeah, that Supreme Fudge has been so notable so far. And now Solitary Bird coming up on that shatter. Godzilla also has a shatter. Godzilla isn't gonna... Oh man, they are gonna back away. They really want to do a 5v5 situation. That's gonna be crazy for Fighting Potatoes because they have to wait for this checkpoint too, the kind of respawn. The only ultimates in the lobby right now are Godzilla's shatter and Solitary Bird's shatter. Sneaky Kitten coming up 70% on a beat, which is 30% faster than Kitty. That's huge. And a giant... Oh, that was base as L. coming out from Salty Bird right there. Fantastic beat from Sneaky Kittens. Now the rest of the damage is on to Godzilla, and now the rest of the cleanup is made from the side of Fighting Potatoes. Some fantastic teamwork right there. Sneaky Kitten, gotta hand it to him. A fantastic charge even. Solitary Bird didn't even care about blocking that shatter, dude. He charged the Reinhardt. He didn't care. Awesome stuff. But now it's gonna get even scarier. Sneaky Kitten has a beat. Kanyu has a pulse, which is, I mean, in contenders, you know, Grafton hit a nice little 3K pulse right around here. Don't know if Kanyu is up for that, but Jersey Boys has both their DPS ultimates, man. Sneaky Kitten under some stress, but Pugster, Yefri, Salty Bird, Kanyu ready to leave it. Nice little immortality field does cut out that pulse, but you know. Everyone's still alive. It's a 5v5. The blizzard does come out, and that means it's time for a beat. But everyone is caught in that blizzard. That's detrimental. Bento has time and time again proven to be quite the little menace. Pete does find a nice little pick. Godzilla does find a nice little pick. Supreme Fudge does find a nice little pick right there. Coalescence is out from the side of Pugster, but Godzilla comes out on top with 2. Jersey Boys, I mean, I think they had a little bit of a heart attack there.
Yeah, they were able to hold the fight, especially since they were able to take that fight beforehand, just before the checkpoint even happened. They were able to get that sort of, because I think it's like 5-10 seconds where it's the robot is going through animation, so being able to get that fight there early is so detrimental for the side of Fighting Potatoes. They're able to get another full regroup around that second corner, just basically almost instantaneously too, and it just seemed like the Jersey Boys had all the momentum throughout the entirety of the game so far, going up 4-0.
Yeah, holy smokes, man. Well, I guess everybody and their freaking mom is right about these predictions. A 4-0 for the side of Jersey Boys. But one thing I like about NYXL, one thing I like about Fighting Potatoes, they bring out the best. Every single map was, I mean, Jersey Boys, a highlight reel. Every single fight that they won. And yeah, Fighting Potatoes, they didn't necessarily come out on top. Esperanza though, that was baller, dude. That Esperanza in particular, you could really see every single ounce of blood, sweat, and oil they put into those fights. And yeah, the main kind of thing, that spawn, dude. Jersey Boys having that like 130, like they were like inches away from their spawn. What do you think that kind of mental for Fighting Potatoes has been this entire time? Like, because yeah, they didn't necessarily come out on top in the end. What do you think their mental was? How do you think their comms went? Because I mean, Jersey Boys, you know, we all saw Jersey Boys, but how do you think for Fighting Potatoes really thought through that?
It's difficult to say, especially not being in there, but you know, being there, it's got to be one of those things where it's like, we might as well. We're more than like, we've already lost this game being down 3-0, so we're not going to win, of course, but it's one of those things where it's like, hey, may as well try to go out with a bang, try to go out to win. They finally moved the point 5 minutes after the pot started. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's rough, but at the same time, it's like, okay, hey, we have some building blocks that we can build on. Obviously, we're already 2-6 now after this, but it's like, hey, we got some building blocks. Maybe we can try to continue to grow, and even then, who knows? Maybe next season we can prove ourselves even better.
Yeah, I hope we see him again next season. They had quite the spirit. Jersey Boys though had a couple of spirits right there. Who do you think out of the spirits? Who do you think was your favorite there?
I would have to go with the number one, the captain, Bento, DPS player, getting those early picks out, getting all that stuff. I would have to say honorable mention has to go to, say, Godzilla, but at the end, I think, in my opinion, it has to go to Bento.
Definitely applaud you right there. I'm gonna give it to the support line of Jersey Boys, because obviously none of that, like we saw so many DPS picks, so many picks coming out from Godzilla in situations where it wasn't necessarily like fight winning or like fight turning, so to say, because the fight was already won. But that's the support magic in action right there. I love they didn't necessarily like out tempo Fighting Potatoes. I would say they didn't like try and, oh, we're gonna speed move fast, we're gonna rotate faster. They just had such a they kept it so sturdy. They were a moving fortress every single time, anywhere they went on the map. It was kind of crazy. GG's all around, because holy smokes, it was a 4-0, but like you love to see it like not be like it was fun.
Yeah, it really was, and it's one of those things that's very interesting to watch a 4-0, because now it's like, okay, now we got some stuff that we can improve on, especially going back. Even Jersey Boys, I feel like they have some stuff to go back and maybe look at and be like, okay, hey, we got a 4-0. But at the end of this, of course, Esperanza are probably going to look back at that and be like, hey, how can we close this out faster? How can we do this? How can we do XYZ? Especially even point map 1 Oasis. They got stuck 99.99 in library. So at the end, maybe, hey, we can go back in this, we can look and like, hey, what can we do differently to do this? But in the end, of course, Fighting Potatoes lose 4-0, or Jersey Boys wins 4-0 against Fighting Potatoes, up 5-3 now. Fighting Potatoes fighting for the chance to go into the playoffs 2-6. I don't believe they're mathematically eliminated, but who knows? They could be. They could be fighting for a spot for, who knows, the play-in, if this is NBA terms.
Could be run of the century. We could very well see it. Overall, I'm winded. Karma, do you have any last words for this fantastic night?
Nope. If you're here, obviously we got a game again tomorrow. Tomorrow and Thursday. Those are gonna be the next two.
Let's go.